The difference between an authentic artistic portrayal of the human body and even the love of man and woman and a pornographic depiction is, does the artist intend to reveal the truth and dignity of what the person is and what human love is? Or does the artist intend to displace the dignity of the person with mere sexual values in order to excite lust in the viewer? Right? There are contexts in which nakedness in art is appropriate. Sistine Chapel, right? John Paul II says Michelangelo allowed himself to be guided by those evocative words in the book of Genesis. The man and his wife were naked and felt no shame. And he, in allowing himself to be guided by those words, John Paul II is making the point that this portrayal of the naked body is meant to help the viewer see the full truth and dignity of the human person. This is clearly not the intention of pornography.
Now, what do you say to the person who says, we've left the garden, it is no longer possible to portray man and woman naked, even if your intention is to portray them in a way that glorifies and kind of zooms in on the person? It's not possible anymore.
I would quote the Catechism that says, even now, this is the direct quote from the Catechism, even now, purity of heart is possible. And purity of heart, the Catechism goes on to say, is recognizing the beauty of God revealed through the human body. Even now, it is possible.
Yeah, part of me wants to object, but then I kind of already answer my own objection. Part of me wants to say, fine, but in a sexualized society such as ours, it's not that possible. Therefore, you should have respect for your audience and not do it. But then the objection to my objection is maybe today more than ever.
That's where I was going to go.
Yeah.
John Paul II, who understood very clearly what we're dealing with in the culture, as part of the restoration project of the Sistine Chapel, ordered that certain loincloths be removed because other clerics had ordered they be painted over Michelangelo's original nudes. John Paul II said, take them off.
I wouldn't even begin to understand how you do that. I know we're not getting into that, but paint, how do you chip away at that while preserving?
There's certain
it's remarkable
chemicals and stuff that can take layers off.
Clearly not the point. Continue.
Yes. His point was to say to the world, immersed in a pornographic vision of the body, his point was to say loudly and clearly, there's another way to see the human body. And he, in fact, when he dedicated the restored Sistine Chapel, he called it the shrine or the sanctuary of the theology of the human body. Beautiful. Saying to the world, again, loudly, clearly, there's another way to see, there's another way to think. If we say it's impossible to see the body rightly, are we not condemning married couples to shameless behavior in their marriage and just legalizing shameless activity?
That's what we're doing.
Marriage does not legalize lustful, shameless activity. It's an invitation to grow in the virtue of chastity, which is the raising of sexual values to the dignity of the person. This is truly possible.
I've been asked, and I have an answer, but I'd like to know why you think I have this answer. Whether it's okay to take appropriate photographic representations of the naked body. It seems to me, no, even in the most modest way you might imagine. And I don't know why, except that maybe in a painting, even if the painting is of a particular woman, there's still a veil that separates the viewer from the subject.
John Paul II, you're putting your finger in your own way on exactly what John Paul II says in the theology of the body, that a photographic representation of the human body is an actual image of the actual person, whereas a painting or sculpture, there's an artistic interpretation of that person, and that creates a certain veil.
Okay.
So you're onto something there.
So the veil you're saying isn't so much the oils and canvas; it's something about the interpretation.
The art. Well, in the oil, in the canvas, in the marble.
Yeah.
There is a rendering that comes from an artist.
Okay.
whereas the photograph is a more vivid reproduction of the actual person. He doesn't outright condemn the photograph of the human body in that way.
he doesn't.
But he says there's an added caution we should have here. Because, I mean, there are photographs of,
Fair enough.
you know, I mean, think of medical literature.
Medical
where
journals,
Yeah,
sure,
you have to have the body
I see.
photographed in some situations. And there is, put it this way, the whole point here is purity of heart is possible. It's not easy, and there's always the danger of falling back into your lustful ways. But if one can see the body rightly, one can see the body rightly. It doesn't mean there isn't a real battle to get there, and no one can ever claim, I've arrived, I'm perfectly pure. No one can ever claim that. We have to take up this battle anew every day because there's always more integration to be had. But I also always want to emphasize, as John Paul II does, that the power of redemption here is real. And we must not empty the cross of its power. On the one hand, we must reckon fully with the extent of sin and our brokenness and our inclination towards lust. Absolutely reckon with that wholly. We also have to reckon wholly with there is real power in the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ to give us the ability to see the human body rightly. Holding those two truths together, we're in the zone, right? If you lean too far here, you empty the cross of its power. If you don't recognize this rightly, you will overestimate your own purity. And pride goeth before the fall. And I can attest to that. I will readily admit there have been times in my life where I've conceptualized purity and thought that I had it because I could articulate it. And then I fall into impurity. And those impurities have been a real reckoning with this side of the thing that I have to hold together with this.
Yeah, that's good, yeah.
We just have to hold those two together.
Pornography is fascinating. I mean, I've thought about pornography way more than most people, and I just find the topic so interesting. You know, what is it, that kind of stuff. Pornography entered the English language, I think, in the mid-19th century, and it was used to refer to...
Literature.
Well, yeah.
Pornography
yeah.
is perverse literature.
Yeah, that's right. And then also artistic expressions through paint and through then photographs. But it was always meant to take the role of a prostitute. A man was meant to interact with pornography the way he would with a prostitute. But the more I think about it, I thought about this. Listen to this. A man can watch a couple having filmed sex and no one can be in the wrong. This would be a bit of a trick for you here, so you're not supposed to understand what I just said, right?
No.
A man can watch a couple having sex on a screen. He's not at fault, nor is the couple. So that's not pornography necessarily.
Well, what is this example? You're losing me.
Because I thought about this. I thought, okay, well, suppose you run an Airbnb, and suppose you have a camera on the back porch, and suppose the couple are a couple of wines deep, and they make love on the back porch, unaware that they're being filmed.
Right.
The man who set up the camera was unaware that this would ever happen.
Yep.
And now the man is unintentionally viewing a filmed sex act.
Right.
This isn't pornography yet.
You're right.
So
you're right.
I think in order for pornography to exist, there has to be the intention of both, I'm not sure yet, I want to think this through, of both the viewer and the actors or the performers, right? Because if my mother finds a stash of pornography I have as a teenager and sees what I'm watching.
Yes.
She's watching pornography, but she's not consuming pornography.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Isn't that fascinating? So what is pornography? I don't know about this. I think every definition I've come up with always falls apart, but it's something like material which depicts erotic behavior that is intended to sexually arouse. And I'm not sure if this...
I would say aroused to lust.
That's right. That's good.
Yeah.
Because one can be sexually aroused without lusting.
Without lusting,
Of course.
Yeah.
That's good. Thanks for adding to that. So pornography is material which depicts erotic behavior that's intended to sexually arouse to lust. What do you think about this next edition? Or, for the most part, has that effect? Then the intention's taken away.
Yeah, how would I define pornography? I would say pornography is the depiction of the human body or of human acts with the explicit intention to arouse lust in the viewer.
Okay, so what if a man's just an idiot and isn't aware that what he's filming is doing that? Maybe he's so immersed in pornography that only the most coarsest forms of pornography would arouse his lust.
Yeah, but that's guilt by being sunken into the mire of it. That does not decrease his guilt. It increases it. The Catechism says if you've numbed yourself, if you've numbed your conscience to sin by the repeated acts of sin, your culpability is not reduced, it's increased.
Oh, that's good. Okay. Yeah, that's good. All right.